Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at a manuscript called Building Faith and Family in the Modern World. It's part theological essay, part modern parenting guide.
And there's a lot to dig into here.
There really is. So let's just jump right in. My first big takeaway is that the manuscript currently operates as two distinct and somewhat disconnected documents. It's a formal theological treatise on one hand and a conversational pastoral guide on the other.
That's exactly it. It's got a real identity crisis.
Yeah, you have this excerpt section and this Q&A section, and they feel like they were written in, I don't know, two different centuries.
Completely. The excerpts part is, it's heavy. It's academic. You've got formal language, citations from Alma, Hebrews, Mosiah. It's all about Noah, Moses.
Right, the big ancient examples. Very expository.
Time for kids, Utah demographics.
The transition is just so jarring. The first half feels like it's lecturing me, and the second half is trying to be my friend.
And that split, it just guts the whole impact. It means the reader has to do all the work of connecting the faith of Noah to the question of, how do I get my kid off their phone?
And most readers are just too tired to build that bridge themselves. They'll either read the theology and kind of forget the advice, or
More likely, they'll just skip the deep stuff to get to the hacks.
So the suggestion has to be, dissolve that boundary? Weave them together?
I think it's the only way. You have to integrate the why directly into the how.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so you have this standalone chapter on Noah building the ark. It's just sitting there, defining faith.
Mm-hmm.
What if you take that story and move it right into the section on prioritizing family?
Oh, that's interesting. So you're not just framing Noah's Ark as its abstract faith.
No. You're framing it as a parent making incredibly unpopular choices. I mean, think about it. Social isolation, mockery, hard physical labor, all to save his family.
That's a direct parallel to a modern parent trying to limit social media or just get everyone to sit down for dinner.
Precisely. You stop treating Noah like a flannel board character and start treating him like a case study in setting boundaries. You're telling the reader, you are building an ark in a world that thinks you are nuts.
That validates their struggle in a way a separate chapter never could. Okay, what about another one? The mustard seed analogy.
Right. Another classic. It's in the theology section explaining how faith grows. But later, there's a Q&A about young couples who feel, financially unprepared to get married.
A huge modern anxiety.
So you just move the seed analogy, move it right into the advice for those couples. You use it to tell them they don't need a full tree, the perfect house, the six-figure job to start a marriage.
They just need the seed.
They just need the seed. And suddenly, the theology isn't abstract anymore. It's practical. It's comforting. And the whole manuscript starts to feel like one single, cohesive idea.
Which leads right into the second big issue. The audience. Who is this actually written for? There's a real third-party problem here.
I felt this immediately. The text can't decide if it's speaking to the person who's struggling or if it's speaking to a parent or a leader about how to, fix somebody else.
Especially the youth, right? In the Q&A about marriage or pornography, the tone gets very clinical. It's all, how do we help them?
It's a consultant tone, and it creates distance. But then the theology section is all about our personal salvation. It's a huge shift.
So if you're a young person who picks this up, you'd feel like a problem to be solved. You're being talked about, not to.
Exactly. It's alienating. And even for a parent, it puts all the focus on trying to control someone else, which, that almost never works.
So the fix here is to standardize that voice, to reframe the whole thing.
Yeah, what if the entire work was framed as a kind of field guide for the modern mentor?
I like that. Because then the focus is always on the reader's own development first, whether they're the parent or the person struggling.
Let's apply that. Take this section on pornography and shame, where it's giving parents scripts on how to talk to teenagers.
The advice to not be shocked is good, but it's incomplete. It feels like you're just diffusing a bomb.
Right. A mentor's field guide would need a section on the parent's internal reaction first. Before you say a word to your child, how do you deal with your own feelings of failure, or fear, or even disgust?
You have to guide the parent through their own spiritual process before they can guide their child.
The internal work is the prerequisite. Otherwise, the script doesn't matter, because the kid will feel your panic.
So it shifts the goal from fix your child to stabilize yourself. I like that. It applies to the micro-spiritual habits section, too.
It does. Right now it says, basically, tell your youth to pray. But with this new framing, it's not about enforcement, it's about modeling.
So instead of tell them to pray,
It's let your children see you pause for a 30-second prayer in the car before school. Let them catch you doing it.
the focus changes from controlling someone else to disciplining yourself. That's way more authentic.
And more effective.
Okay, let's move on. The third point, the title promises a book about the modern world, but the examples of faith feel, well, not so modern.
This is the ancient versus modern gap. The text just loves these high-drama miracles.
Parting the Red Sea, fire from heaven.
Yeah, nations hanging in the balance. Epic. Cinematic stuff. But then you pivot to the modern world section, and the problems are all low-drama stress.
Credit card debt, marital silence, just feeling exhausted.
Exactly. And if you're drowning in that kind of quiet struggle, how do you relate to Moses parting an ocean? The scale feels wrong.
It almost makes your own problems feel insignificant. Like, if there's no fire from heaven, is my faith even working?
That's the risk. You invalidate the reader's reality. The solution, I think, is to explicitly contrast the loud miracles of the past with the quiet miracles needed today.
Validate their mundane struggles.
Yes. So, for instance, there's a story in there about an illiterate man who learns to read so he can serve as a branch president. It's a great story.
But it feels a little distant for, say, a Gen Z reader.
So why not parallel it immediately with a modern equivalent? Maybe a grandparent who has to learn how to use video chat to stay connected with a grandchild who's serving a mission.
Ah, that's so specific and relatable.
And the spiritual engine is identical, right? It's faith driving the acquisition of a new, difficult skill, all for the sake of connection. One feels like history, the other feels urgent.
That's great. Let's do another one. The section on prioritizing order. It uses the story of the flood.
Right. The flood is physical chaos, water, destruction, noise. But a modern reader is dealing with mental chaos.
Information overload,
Yeah.
notifications, constant noise.
So you contrast that. You frame building an ark today not as building a boat, but as creating a tech-free zone in your home.
Building an ark of silence?
Yeah. You're shutting out the chaotic world to save your family. The theology is the same, but the application is something they can actually do on a Tuesday night.
I see that. The book also has these movie recommendations like Coco and Inside Out, which are good modern touchstones, but they feel kind of,
Tacked on.
they're just in a list at the end.
The suggestion is to explicitly link the movie's themes back to the scriptures you already cited.
Okay,
So Coco is all about memory and legacy. Link that directly to the scriptural command to remember from the theology section. Don't just recommend the movie, show them how to use it as a tool.
Okay, final point then. Let's talk about how actionable this all is. The advice on family culture is really inspiring, but is it realistic for the target audience?
That's the question. Is it failure-proof? The text suggests things like a family altar or weekly family home evening, which is great, but it assumes a baseline of energy and, frankly, compliance that the stressed-out parents described in the book probably don't have.
So when they try it and the toddler has a meltdown or the teenager refuses to participate,
They feel like they failed, and they might just give up entirely.
if the only option presented is the ideal, then anything less feels like failure.
Exactly. So the text needs to introduce low-bar entry points, and maybe even recovery protocols.
What do you mean by that? A recovery protocol?
Well, the text has micro-spiritual habits, like a 30-second prayer. That's a great low-bar entry point. Let's expand that to micro-recoveries. What do you do in the moment right after you lose your temper with your kids?
Because just saying don't get angry is useless advice.
It's impossible. So instead, the book should give you a specific prayer of apology to say with your child right then and there.
That is so actionable. It acknowledges the failure and gives you a script for the repair. The mistake itself becomes a lesson in repentance.
Which is more valuable than pretending to be a perfect parent. It makes the atonement real, right there in the living room.
Okay, and we can apply this to the movie list too. Fireproof, courageous.
Right. Instead of just listing them, provide, say, 3 specific post-movie discussion questions. Bridge the entertainment to the theology.
So for Inside Out, you could ask a question about how the character's sadness is actually good, how she relates to the idea of godly sorrow from the theology section.
Exactly. Why did feeling sad help her fix things? Now movie night is a spiritual lesson with 0 friction. It's failure-proof because they were already going to watch the movie.
And one last thing, the marriage skills section. It's all abstract labels: communication, conflict resolution.
Those words mean nothing to tired people. If you tell an exhausted couple to communicate better, they'll just stare at you. They don't have the energy to figure out how.
So give them a script.
Give them a script. A State of the Union check-in that takes 10 minutes. Ask these 3 questions. Listen for 2 minutes each. Say a prayer. Done.
That's doable. And because it's doable, it might actually get done.
Precisely.
So to sum it all up, this manuscript has so much good in it. The core ideas are strong.
The raw materials are definitely there. The theology is sound. The modern problems are real. The bridge between them just needs to be finished.
The author needs to unify that ancient theology with the modern application, dissolve the boundary between the essay and the guide.
And make sure the voice is speaking to a mentor, not about a problem child.
Bridge the gap between those Red Sea miracles and the patience you need for, daily traffic. Validate the quiet struggles.
And finally, just make the advice failure-proof. Give people low-bar entry points and recovery plans so they can feel successful. To the authors of Building Faith and Family in the Modern World, we really see the heart in this. The potential is enormous. We invite you to build these bridges, strengthen these connections, and please send it back to us. We would love to see its next form.
Absolutely. It's a message the world needs. It just needs a package the modern world can open.
That concludes our critique for today. Thank you for listening.